Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Two for Talking podcast. I'm your host, Corey Tusick. I've got comedian Joe Bartnick alongside. You can check out all his tour dates at joebartnick.com. And I've got Josh Yohe with The Athletic, as always. And Josh, you wrote a lot about the Penguins and who the final roster looked like. So, Joe, Josh, I want to hear your guys' opinions on Dan Muse and Kyle Dubas's decisions and where we landed. A couple young guys are sticking with us, aren't they?
Yeah, Joe, I didn't expect two teenagers to be on this roster a few weeks ago. Brunick, I guess, doesn't really shock me. We saw last preseason how talented he was. So I guess it's not a shock that they're giving him at least 9 games, especially with how good he looked again this preseason. Ben Kindle, I didn't see this coming, not by a long shot. And by the way, I don't think he's staying more than 9 games. I'd be surprised if he did. But I kind of like the fact, Joe, that the kid played great. He exceeded expectations, and they rewarded him. I think that's exciting for the fans, and I think that does send a good precedent to players. Hey, you want a job? Play well. We're going to give it to you.
Yeah, Josh, I was shocked that Kindle made it, basically because he's young. Too, he had a bad last game. His final audition, I thought he had 2 major turnovers, which I thought, oh, the poor kid. But I think Rusty being out 2 weeks is the major advantage to his career. Yeah. It stinks that he's, he's only going to stay 9 games. I like him. I was more, my disappointment is seeing Noel Acciari still there. Because I thought for sure that Mr. Bros made enough of a statement to stick around in the Noel Acciari spot. And frankly, I'm just shocked. That's where I thought the youth movement was actually going to be like, okay, this is really it. If they got rid of Graves or shipped him off, I thought Acciari would be even easier.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be seeing him in the lineup for 82 games. I really would be shocked. And as for Bros, and I would throw Avery Hayes into this as well because I really like him too. For Penguins fans who are disappointed that those two are starting the season in Wilkes-Barre, I say to you, I get it. Be patient because I don't think it's going to be that long until those guys make their way to Pittsburgh. They both made quite an impression. It's a matter of time, and I don't think Acciari's going to be in the lineup long. Let's be honest, Joe. He can't stay healthy anyway. So it's a matter of time until even more young guys come up. Could it be, Joe? Could it be that, they didn't want to start with like 5 rookies on opening night, and maybe in a month or two we're going to see more guys come up? They wanted to kind of, not go too young at first, which I guess to some extent I would understand.
No, I completely understand that, Josh. What I'm thinking though is who is out when Rusty comes back, because I guess moving a little further ahead, Mr. McGroarty's coming to town. I would hope. That's so who's out there? Because I like Kindle. I like everything Kindle stands for. I was a little worried about the draft pick. I just thought Bros really earned a spot over my boy Tommy Novak. I thought he played better than Novak.
I thought Novak had a really disappointing camp in preseason. I didn't notice him. He is like I'm at practice most days. Like I don't even notice him at practice. Like when he has the puck, you can see the skill level that he has. But I feel like it was not the camp they were hoping for. But you still got to let him play and got to look at him. Obviously, you've seen a game and a half since the trade. You got to let him play. Kindle, listen, I think Ben Kindle's here for 2 reasons. Number 1, he exceeded expectations. Number 2, Brian Rust and Rucker McGroarty aren't around right now. So that opened a path, kind of like when we saw Rucker for a few games in October last year. It might be something very similar to that, but that's okay. As for who comes out, well, Kindle's one that will come out. And then you could look at the 4th line and, whether it be Acciari would be my first guess, honestly. I think those would probably be the most 2 likely to come out of the lineup. But we will see. You know what, though, Joe? I was looking at the roster this morning, and I thought to myself, I know a lot of people think this team stinks, and I don't think they're a playoff team. I think they're going to give up a ton of goals, but I kind of like their forwards. Like we've said this for a while now. They're forwards, man. Especially if you're going to keep Rust and Raquel, and if Rusty can get healthy and McGroarty gets healthy, it's a pretty deep, impressive forward unit, is it not?
I absolutely agree, Josh, and that's why all the fans listening, you know how happy I am to work with Josh every week on this show, because I get to talk to the man myself, because I still have so many questions. Like, you see all the talent now. It may not be, Stanley Cup winning talent, but we have a lot of talent. Where does my Manny Mama fit in?
I knew it was coming back to him eventually.
It always comes back to Boko.
Of course it does. He'll be up at some point. I don't think there's any question. I don't know if he's the kind of guy who will come up on an appointment basis, depending on the opposition or what the deal is. He didn't have a great camp, really, but I mean, he's a tough guy to gauge, right? Because part of what he brings to the table has nothing to do with how he can execute a pass. That said, I didn't think he played as well in this preseason. Now, you noted that last week, Joe. I mean, he's coming off a pretty bad injury, too. That might have something to do with it, but we'll see him at some point. He certainly adds that toughness that the Penguins still lack, I think.
The other big question I had is I completely thought Robbie Fabry earned a sweater. I thought he was easily one of the 12 best forwards. Is that just a move for if you're not 18, 19, 20 or already in our system, it's just not going to work for you? And should he pick somewhere else to play? And did he put enough on tape to go somewhere else? I really thought he played well.
He was one of their 12 best forwards, just like, Sergei Murashov was their best goalie. I mean, he was.
Doesn't really matter.
We all know it. But they have a plan, clearly. And they deviated from it here and there. And Fabry, you're right. He was one of their 12 best forwards. He's a solid pro. I would if I were a contending team and I was a little shallow in the bottom six, I'd consider giving him a look for sure. He's a guy who's been around and knows how to play the game. But I think ultimately they still have so many people they can't move based on their contracts, and they have so many young people that they want to get a look at. And we talk about the depth they have. It was just going to be hard for Fabry to make this team in the first place, but he certainly did nothing wrong in camp. Just, Joe, a lot of people had really good training camps.
Josh, I thought that Koivunen might be my most exciting favorite player right now. I other than, guys going to the Hall of Fame. And Rust, the two exemptions in Rusty. I mean, Raquel played great, but I mean, Koivunen just looked like he had ice in the back of his head this camp.
He's got a little charisma about him, doesn't he? On the ice, he's just fun. Like he looks
smooth.
Yeah, he is, Corey. One thing that I notice, and we talk about this with young guys. Like I always. Now this is Sid, but I always talk about with Sid his rookie year compared to his second year. He looked so much faster when he was 19 because, the body's still growing at that point. You're getting stronger. When they're that young, you sometimes just see a noticeable physical difference. And watching Koivunen in the first day of camp, all of us who were there every day, we kind of said, Jesus, like he looks twice as fast. Look at this guy. So you see that speed element to his game, and he's just so smart. He sees the ice. I mean, I think he might be more of a playmaker than a goal scorer at the NHL level. But I think he's a valid top six winger in the making, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him play with Sid. I think he'll be good with him.
If he plays with Sid, I mean, there's an outside chance that he could be in the Rookie of the Year. It could be in the Calder conversation because he's going to get his points.
It's conceivable, and he won't be on the top power play to start, but I'm telling you, he's going to be on it at some time this year. That's my prediction. Watching him in practice, the power play comes so naturally to him. He can really work on the wall. I think he can play a number of different positions on the power play. In fact, the hockey IQ, he just knows where to go with the puck.
With Rusty being out, why not play him there now? Because on Friday they played two defensemen, which is like never happens with the Penguins.
And that's what I would do because I don't like Letang and Carlson on the power play together. I think we've seen enough of that, but I guess we're going to have to see it some more, unfortunately.
That might have been my only disappointment. Other than, maybe Novak not being, a stellar performance, a couple other just minute performances, Boku. I thought that when it was the young guys, when it was Tomasino and Koivunen and Bros on the power play, they looked incredible. It looked like the Red Wings. And then as soon as the old guys went out there, it looked like Blausma was the coach.
No, I mean, we've seen... I think especially in Letang and maybe even more so Malkin, I don't mean to pick on those guys. They're still effective. They just aren't what they were. But you really see the decline in their games on the power play, especially Malkin. That Gino, there was a time for, I would say, a big chunk of their respective careers, where I thought Malkin was better on the power play than Crosby.
100%.
Right? Crosby was always the better 5-on-5 player. But there was a time when Malkin was more of a weapon with that one-timer, things he could do on the power play. We don't see that as much from him. Letang was never great on the power play, really, and neither's Carlson. So it's interesting that it looks like we're going to see the old guard on the power play to start. That said, it worked in the preseason. As long as Raquel's the guy being teed up, it might be fine.
It was ironic. They said there's 2 defensemen on the power play for the Penguins. This never happens. And then they named the defenseman. I was like, I don't know. I don't know if there's a whole lot of defense being played on this power play. Might want to call it 5 forwards.
Josh, speaking of the defense, that's where I'm questioning more of the decision making. I thought Wotherspoon looked okay. I thought Carlson had a great camp. So teaming with Wotherspoon, okay, I can see that. Letang looked as bad as Letang usually does most of the time. And then Caleb Jones, it's not like Caleb Jones was on the Panthers and couldn't make it. He's barely an NHLer, and somehow he got moved ahead of guys who I thought really good camps as far as Dumba.
Yeah. Dan Muse and Kyle Dubas must see something in Caleb Jones I don't see, because I didn't see anything in training camp that impressed me. I wouldn't say he was awful, but I didn't look at this guy and say, yeah, he needs to make the roster. Look at this guy. He was not good. And the left side of the blue line is a major problem. First of all, how bad was Owen Pickering in camp that he couldn't make this team playing on the left side? That's a little bit of a red flag, and he wasn't very good. Witherspoon's okay. He's kind of a number 6, number 7 defenseman. He's okay. Ryan Shea's okay. Kind of a number 6 defenseman probably, right? That's the left side of their blue line. That's all you need to know about Ryan Graves, by the way. Speaking of left-handed defensemen, that he was banished to Wilkes-Barre, and justifiably so. I thought he was so bad in the preseason games, Joe. He looked like a guy who was just checked out emotionally. I didn't see any effort. He was playing like a guy who either didn't care or who thought he had a roster spot locked up months ago. And either way, it was a bad look. Just the lack of passion I saw from him in the preseason was really bad.
Well, he was horrible. But after Brunicki, and I'll give Carlson his due, I thought Dumba was the third best defenseman, and then I probably put Clifton fourth. So what happens with Dumba and Clifton? Are they have to clear waivers or what?
No, I don't think so. They'll be on the team.
So they're going to carry 8D? Is that?
They might. I mean, we'll see. Some decisions obviously have to be made, and part of that goes in line with which forwards they decide to keep a few days from now. Dumba is one of their 4 best defensemen. I'm telling you, this guy had a good training camp, and you want somebody who plays with Sandpaper, excuse me.
Sandpaper too.
Whatever. This guy has a nasty streak. You could see it even in battle drills. I liked it. He really plays with a physical edge. And like we said when this trade went down a couple of months ago, Joe, just because he wasn't good enough to play in Dallas's top 6 doesn't mean he stinks. That's probably the best team in the league on paper we're talking about, or one of the best. It's a little different. That doesn't mean he's not a perfectly valid defenseman in this league. I still think he is. And one thing about him, just from asking him about it, and take a look at his history, he can play the left side if you need him to, and I think he can be okay there. Because if you want to play Brunik and Letang and Carlson, well, that's fine. To me, you still have to find room for Dumba in this lineup. Put him on the left side. I don't, like we said, that left side is so bad. If you're hurting somebody's feelings on the left side, that's too bad. You got to go with your best 6 defensemen. There's no question in my mind that Brunik and Dumba are both 2 of their top 6.
Well, what do you do about, talking about the left side? I really wanted to ask you this. Is it time to start worrying about Owen Pickering? Is this becoming a bust territory? Because that's a pretty, I thought he was a lock, given how bad our left side is.
Yeah, I thought he would be. Bust is a harsh word, but he's not looking great. And I just think with him, the ceiling isn't very high. Owen Pickering might turn out being a perfectly fine third pairing defenseman. And that's fine if you don't take into consideration he was a first-round pick. Right? When you think first-round pick, you always want more than that, of course. He just looks like a guy to me. He's big. Other than that, I don't know how much he brings to the table. And I wonder how much the Dubas regime likes him. He wasn't drafted by Kyle, remember. That was a Ron Hextall draft pick. I just, I clearly they're not thrilled with how he's playing right now, no matter what they say. That's obvious. And if he couldn't make the team with this left side of the blue line, it's fair to be concerned. I wouldn't say, yeah, he's a bust, but I think the next time we see him in Pittsburgh, he better look better. Put it that way.
He looked better when he came up last year than he did this whole preseason. I thought he just had one bad game last year and he kind of got banished. I don't know if that was just Sully's way to teach him a lesson or whatnot. But I did not see, and I didn't think Shea had a very good camp either. He was probably first on the list of, other than Graves, I think he was probably second on the list of bad turnovers, getting beat to pucks, getting schooled.
I liked Shea last year. I actually thought he took strides last season. I thought he was one of their more reliable defensemen, albeit that's setting the bar really, really low. He did not have a good camp. You're right. May have been good enough to make the team. I don't know if it's good enough to be on the ice. I'd probably still have him out there, but yes, he was a little disappointing. And listen, this blue line, it's a huge problem. Okay, because the fact is Karlsson and Letang are still the guys who are going to eat the most minutes. We saw what they did last year. I don't think that's suddenly going to change. Now, I will say, sometimes when you get new coaches, new eyes on you, things can be different, right? And Erik Karlsson looks like a different player to me. He just looks faster. He looks more alert. He's hitting people. He looks more like Erik Karlsson. And remember, as bad as he wasn't good in his first year, he was really bad last year. He didn't have a training camp last year. He was hurt, and that obviously had an impact on him. As he was really bad in the first half. So he looks way ahead of the game right now. And that's only a good thing for the Penguins. If he can play at that level, he will help them be a better hockey team. He also, frankly, becomes a hell of a lot more tradable.
Josh, let me ask you this. My top six would be Dumba plays with Karlsson, and Brunicki plays with Clifton, and Letang would either play with Shea or Wotherspoon. That would be my. What do you say on that?
That would probably be mine as well. And Letang actually did play with Shea today in practice.
Oh,
which we haven't seen much lately. So it wouldn't shock me if we see that. I think they're just still trying to figure it out, quite honestly. But listen, a lot of these guys, we kind of know what they are. Brunik is the interesting one here. And I'm fascinated to see how this works out. I really don't think it's been decided. If he plays really well, if he's one of their better defensemen in the first month of the season, they very well may just keep him.
Yeah, I was going to say, if barring a disastrous performance for 9 games, why would you send him back?
Right. But if he does struggle, they always have that option. But also, I don't know if it makes much sense to keep him and then only play him 12 minutes a night. He needs to play, right? I mean, maybe that would be fine. I don't know, but I would think more of a minute-eating role. That's who he's going to be. I just don't know if it makes sense for him to get limited minutes. But that's a problem when you have Letang and Karlsson still on the roster, still on the right side. So I don't know how this unfolds, but I know that I'm very interested to see how this unfolds, Joe.
Well, yes, Josh. Now, here's the thing. Would you rather see him play 12 minutes against men or 29 minutes against boys?
I would rather see him play 12 minutes against men.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's how you develop. It's like in comedy. I'm the king of the open mics, right? But now let's go to the improv. Let's go to the Comedy Cellar. Let's hang out with Attell and Louis C.K. Let's be on that show. No, it's really easy to be the funniest guy at the open mic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, that's a great point. And one thing about this kid Brunik, I'll tell you what, the more I learn about him, the more I talk with people who know him, he has a competitive streak that's a little more advanced, even for professional athletes. And I thought we saw it the other night. Like, he had a little bit of a misplay, was responsible for a goal against in the last preseason game. Then a couple of shifts later, he has an unbelievable shift and scores a beautiful goal. It was like, whoa, like that was a response that I think got everyone's attention and was kind of his way of saying, no, you don't want to send me down. I'm ready. And you'll see, he'll make mistakes. He's a kid. We don't see 19-year-old defensemen in the NHL very often. So he's going to make mistakes, but that's okay. I just think he has the mindset and the competitive spirit where it's not going to impact him negatively. This kid's got guts. He's not going to, feel sorry for himself if he makes a mistake. I'm telling you.
Josh, this is not the 2017, 16, 17 Penguins or the 2009 Penguins or the 2000 or the 1994 Penguins. We're so used to mistakes.
Yeah.
Mistakes on the blue line, they roll off my back. Just do something good.
Yeah.
That's what Brunick can do.
I'm glad you said that, Joe. If I can interrupt you for a second, because Brunick made a mistake, gave up a goal, and I see all these assholes on Twitter saying, "Oh, he's still raw. He still made a mistake."
Yeah, geez.
Like, if you watch the rest of their defensemen play, like if you watch Chris Letang and Erik Karlsson play, like, guess what? It happens. Like, it's okay. He's 19. He's going to make mistakes. Like, they're going to give up a lot of goals this year. Let's just consider the big picture, that this is a pretty special looking player here, and I think he's proven that already.
All those guys have to wash their girlfriend's perfume out of their Letang jerseys. We know the segment of that fan base right there.
Yeah. They're just a little upset that Christopher. Hey, I'm not bagging on Letang, but Brunick, to me, I don't care. He can make that mistake once a period. I'd be like, let's keep him. Like, he's in our top 6. He should be. Like Joe said, I'm numb to it. Like,
yeah, I mean, and so much of it is just the personality. There are some players who would get rattled and who would need to be coddled a little bit and sent to the minors. That's okay. Everybody's different. But I'm telling you, this kid's kind of an alpha. He's got a. I don't know.
He's like a stealthy alpha.
I don't know if cocky is the right word, but like, he's got a high confidence level in himself, and that's a beautiful trait for a defenseman to have.
How did this kid end?
He's a little bit of the doctor in him.
Yeah,
a little bit of doctor. That's a great
okay.
point. That's a great point, though, Josh. There's one thing I did pick up. I like Dan Muse. He called that timeout in the middle of the last preseason game, and it was just like, you know what? I want to win this game. And then he put Sid and Raquel out there to win it. Like, I really he's a competitive SOB. And
Has he earned their respect, do you think? For a guy that was a D3 player, never a head coach at the NHL level or, anything like that, it seems to me that the response, even I was listening on the radio, and Borky goes like, wow, geez, after that timeout, the team, like, they must have got a good talking to.
It's early. He hasn't even coached a real game yet. I'm pretty impressed with him. And I know, I've spoken with Crosby and Raquel and Rusty about him. They respect him so far. They really do. And I'm telling you, from day one, those guys, they just didn't feel it with Mike Johnson. Now, you could sense it immediately. And this guy has gotten their attention. He's really worked them hard in camp. I mean, it was a brutal camp the first few days. I think he was letting them know who the boss was, but I think they're impressed with him. And I really like Dan Muse so far. I actually had a sit down with him in his office the other day. The article just published on the Athletics website a few hours ago. And I can't help but like him. And I said, listen, Dan, I said, your team's given like a 9% chance to make the playoffs in Vegas. So how do you deal with that knowledge? And he looks at me and he says, listen, you're a reporter. You have a job to do, and I respect you, and I respect all reporters out there. I respect the fans. People can think what they want. He said, we're going to write our own story. And he said that might sound like cutesy, but he meant it. He said, we're going to write our own story. And he said, Kyle Dubas made it clear to me, like, we don't want this to go on forever. We want to start getting better immediately. There's an urgency to start winning games. And I think everyone's buying in right now. And I think they're going to play hard for this guy.
Josh, I felt the respect watching it myself, as opposed to sitting back and thinking, oh my God, Barzini just sitting there clueless behind the bench. And it was Mike Johnson. And he looked like the mayor at the end of the Animal House. Just like, what's going on? He had no charisma. He had no way to lead men, which, as you remember, Josh, like 4 months ago when I was just like,
what you wanted.
We need a guy that can lead men. Now I'm not afraid to have him behind the bench, saying what's Tocchet doing over there, or mean mugging Sully. Like, he's a man. I'm so much happier about the choice than I was 6 weeks ago.
No, he's been impressive, and I think I mentioned this last week. It's in the article too. The work this guy puts in, like, he has a passion for this. he wouldn't tell me what time he comes to work in the morning. I said, not really. What time is it? I keep hearing you have a little bit of an obsession with this job. He said, I don't want to say. I said, is the sun up when you come to work? He goes, oh, no. I said, okay. I said, is the sun up when you go home from work? He goes, oh, no. And I said, have you gotten a chance to explore Pittsburgh? He goes, well, I went to Firebirds to eat. I said, Firebirds? I said, it's a good place. He said, well, it's right across the street from the arenas. I don't have time to go anywhere else because I'm busy working here.
Like this.
And I said, all right, that's impressive. And he said, listen, this isn't manual labor. He said, I'm coaching hockey. This is a dream. And he's and you know what? Sid and Letang especially, they're rink rats, right? Like when they see that earns their respect when they see a guy who's got the passion that they do.
I'll give my maybe weekly, at least monthly plug for The Athletic. Great article on Dan Muse. Of course, I read it. But even better, the article on Mario brought a tear to my eye. I mean, that is poetry. That is of Mice and Men. That is, The Great Gatsby. That was just a great article.
It's a tear to my eye that he's 60 years old, for God's sake.
I know. You know what, though? I was talking with some hockey parents over the weekend, and I said, given how well the Fleury thing went, and if they're worried about selling tickets, sign Mario. I know he just turned 60, but I said, sign him, put him on the power play. I will get season tickets tomorrow, just to watch 66 on the power play.
He sure wouldn't do that in a million years, but
no, he would not.
Implies that the hero worship still very much exists, and for good reason. He's just a little different than everybody else.
And you had many sentences that were gold in that article, but the best one was everyone just wishes that Kyle Dubas had to answer to him.
Yep.
And I didn't mean that as a shot at Kyle, by the way.
No, I didn't take it. It's not.
It's a shot at FSG.
Maybe a little.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps to have owners who are actually around and interested in what you're doing. But yes, that would be something. It certainly would.
Yeah. So I have a question about Sergei Miroshov before we get to Bill and kind of moving on to some other stuff. When Bloomquist comes back, I assume he'll be in Wilkes-Barre unless Tristan Jarry has a 10% save percentage. So is he going to get the bulk of the load down there? Are you getting any sense of is it going to be a split between, Joel and Sergei, or, what do they want to do with him?
They're both going to play, but I am under the impression that Miroshov is going to receive the bulk of the work. I just think helping his development has become one of the single most important things in the organization. Like I said earlier, we know who the best goalie in camp was. We know who the guy with the most talent in camp was. And I think he'll make his debut at some point this season in the National Hockey League. I don't know when, but I bet he will. And Bloomquist isn't a guy they've given up on. They like him. Luckily, with the way the AHL season goes, a lot of back-to-back games, the way the scheduling works out, there will be time for both of them to play. But this, to me, is more about Miroshov. He's the blue-chip talent here, and that's becoming increasingly obvious as time goes on.
Yeah. It's increasingly obvious, too, that if Miroshov is the goaltender, we have a better than 9% chance of making the playoffs. And if Miroshov is not the goaltender, we have about a 9% chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah, because I thought Jarry was terrible in preseason. I just there's the one game in Detroit, he only gave up one goal. He didn't look good. There were about 4 or 5 posts clanging behind him. He looked clumsy. That's the word I would use. He looked very clumsy. He almost knocked over the net when he went to play the puck the other night. What are you doing?
And you know what I love about Sergei on Friday? He let up a softie. Mm-hmm. That was the first one he let up that was it wasn't a great goal to give up, and he bounced back. And Borky even said it. Borky said, if you're the netminder, it's no more goals. Rest of the game, you want to win this game. And I mean, sure as hell he did it. So
couldn't you just feel, even though it was preseason, there were 5,000 people in the building, couldn't you feel the energy when he came into the game though? Like the Penguins respond to him. And they don't respond to Jarry. It's just there's just a psychological cloud there at this point.
That's what has me so excited about this team. There's guys like that. There's Sergei, there's, Koivunen. There are young guys now that we're like, oh, they bring some energy. Like there is a future. Now, does that mean they're going to make the playoffs this year? I don't think so. But it's kind of one of my questions about opening night. We have Sully, who didn't want the young guys to play, versus the new Dan Muse. And Josh, you wrote it quite well in your article talking about the young guys coming up and saying, Sully's gonna be staring what he didn't want right in the face on opening night.
Well, I don't know if I worded it that way.
No, you didn't say it that way.
I actually balk at people who think that Sully didn't want to play the young guys. I don't think he had good young guys to play. Now, did he rely too much on the Nola Charis and Kevin Hayes? Yes, but it's ironic and it's kind of amusing that Sully behind the bench is going to see 19-year-old Harrison Brunick and 18-year-old Ben Kindle playing for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm sure that's going to cross his mind. That's why the sports writer in me, Joe, is like, you know what? If we think Miroshev's this damn good, let's stick him in there at the Garden, national television, eye to eye with a very flamboyant, very famous Russian goaltender, Mr. Shesterkin. Let's just do it and get it over with. I would have loved to have seen it.
1000%. That's why they're almost Tomlining the rebuild, where it's like, oh, we're not living in our fears, but Monsieur Obi and Wilkes-Barre. Oh, we're not living in our fears, but we're going to keep Blake Lizotte instead of Bros. Oh, we're not living in our fears, but we have Caleb Jones instead of anybody else. I don't know.
I will say this. The goaltending position is a little different. And one thing about Miroshov is we see the talent, and he's been so good. He really hasn't played a lot. Like, he hasn't played even many AHL games. Like, most of his games played are in Wheeling or Russia. So I understand why they probably want to see a little more and just see him keep progressing. But there is another side of me like, he's your best goalie. You said you were going to play your best goalie. Like, let's see it now. Why not?
And I'll tell you the other thing too, though, about getting back to playing the Rangers. They have like two guys over 6'8". They might have been a good night for Imama to play.
I had that same thought too. Although the interesting thing is, Sully doesn't really like that kind of hockey, as we know.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he'll put the reins on those. I don't know. I'm actually curious to see.
But Edstrom isn't actually a decent hockey player. He's like 6'8". Will Cooley, 6'5". He's a pretty mean guy. Trocheck always likes to rile up people in Pittsburgh. JT Miller, as well as the big goon. So it's like, it might have been nice to have our own little nuclear arsenal laying around, and not Parker Wotherspoon -4.
I could do without that. We'll see. It's gonna be an interesting game tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit about forecasting into the future here, but we do have to get to our favorite Penguin fan, Mr. Bill Neofis, who have you talked to him about his time in Ireland?
A little bit. Bill had a very good time in Ireland, even though he missed the Flower event. He actually just texted me a few minutes ago. He loves Sid. He doesn't like when people compare McDavid to Sid historically. So he just texted me and said, I got to begrudgingly give McDavid credit for taking less money. He's finally starting to emulate Sid. So this is true. We'll get to that in a bit, I'm sure. But yeah, Bill Neofis, he's the man who leads the Neofis Insurance Group, our great sponsors. We talk about them every week, and they're not just our sponsor. They're friends. They're good people. They will help you with all of your insurance needs. Bill's number for either Bill or his group, it's 412-364-3388. I'm going to say it one more time, 412-364-3388. Tell them we sent you. They love that, because then Bill can talk hockey for a few minutes before he gets to business, and that's what we all like to do, right? They are the best, whatever your insurance needs are. Literally any insurance you can think of, they will have you covered. So give Bill a call. Now, Bill's going to be in the house. He actually just texted me. I don't know if he's coming to the opener or not, but he'll be there for Sully's return Saturday night and on the suite level. Wow, see?
Oh.
Yeah, our sponsors are big-time people. They sit in the suite level when the Rangers come.
He might be with Mario. You never know.
I'm going to ask him if he's sitting with 66 or not.
Yeah. If we could, if we can't have Mario there, I'd take Bill sitting up there with a glass of Cabernet.
That's right.
Watching over the arena. So thank you.
Well, Pierre LaRouche needs to be in the box with Bill.
Oh,
That's the way it needs. Absolutely. Life's always better when Pierre's just around having a glass of wine, you know?
I agree.
Always got the tan from being on the golf course with Mario in Florida. Pierre's like the greatest guy ever. For anyone who's met Pierre LaRouche, unbelievable guy.
The best dude.
Thank you, Bill, as always. So
and also happy 60th birthday.
Yes.
To the big guy.
That's why we're all here.
Thank you. I mean, yeah, none of us, I don't even know if I'd like hockey because I wouldn't have ever seen it.
I can't tell you how many times I've had that thought, like, what would I be doing with my life if he didn't exist? I'm serious. I don't know. I don't know. I'd probably still be in this industry, but I don't know. It's
I mean,
amazing how he has impacted. The three of us wouldn't even know each other. I mean,
I wouldn't have met my wife. I wouldn't have my kids. Like, it's as simple as that. You know what I mean? Like, how many people have that story?
No, it's so true.
I mean,
no, we all have stories like that. It's never has.
I might still have a wife.
That's a good one. Touche.
Yeah, I mean, I met my ex-wife at a Penguin game, which is to say, at least I have two beautiful children because of the Penguins. So, again, well, it's true. We all have our stories because of him. No athlete has ever meant more to a city. I will fight anyone who disagrees with me. It's not even close.
You know, and I saw Madden yesterday fighting with people, you know, because people were saying that Roberto did better, more than Mario or whatever. And I'm like, don't get me wrong, Roberto's a great guy, but I wholeheartedly agree with the super genius. Like, Mario has spent his lifetime here making the city better. You know, everything he does to raise money. It's just
kind of apples and oranges. Like, Mario didn't die in a plane crash at 38 years, so it's hard to say. But yeah, I made the headline like Pittsburgh's most important athlete, and like these Pirates fans got upset with me. Like, it wasn't a shot at number 21, for God's sake.
Well, let's get real. Enough of this horse shit. That Roberto Clemente is even close to Mario. When he built a couple shacks in Puerto Rico, Mario built hospital wings in Pittsburgh. He's like Andrew Carnegie. I mean, seriously. I mean, don't insult my intelligence by putting was Roberto Clemente a great baseball player? Yes. Was he Babe Ruth, Henry Aaron, or, Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle? I don't think so. But, okay. But what Lemieux did charity-wise, it's not even close.
I have.
It's like owning it. It's like owning a lemonade stand and owning Ralph's supermarkets.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a different. Yeah, I agree, and I try not to get I'll try to get emotional about it, but I literally, you guys know that people know that my son had to have a huge brain surgery at Children's Hospital. We spent a lot of time there. DVE, actually, we went down with Michelle Michaels. My son was on doing the Children's Hospital fundraise, whatever. And she was asking, about all the different stuff, why money's needed. And the only thing I could say was, I was like, look, Mario Lemieux, I have to thank that man because of what he did. My boys were able to play together while in the hospital. You know what I mean? Like all the Mario's play or Austin's playroom, all that kind of stuff. Like literally we got stuff for my boys to play with where they could hang out together. And on the back, you could see it said from the Mario Lemieux Foundation. And I was like, you can't, 40 years later, 42 years later, he's still here doing all this stuff in Pittsburgh. A kid from Montreal. She's just the best.
He has a foundation that I've done benefits for. We've all done benefits. I think Josh, I've done benefits for. When my father passed, we give the money. Like, he's still helping the community.
Yes. Yeah, and he also has a foundation that he got $6,600 for from Madden. One of the best goals he ever scored in his life when he turned around and pointed up at Madden. Do you remember that, Joe?
Yes, Pirate fans. Don't send Josh your hate mail. You can Joe Bartnick at hotmail.com. I'll debate any of you who want to pretend that it's in the same. Like I said, Roberto, nice guy. Great baseball player.
Well, it's not a knock on Clemente in any way.
I know he did some charity work. He's not freaking Mario Lemieux.
Yeah,
and I can't even. It's like saying Mike. I mean, it's like it blows my mind that someone be that.
The inferiority complex of Pirates fans.
I wonder where that comes from.
I couldn't imagine.
I don't know. Well, let's go around. So I want to break down the Metro in depth. But first of all, I mean, you mentioned it a little bit there. Connor McDavid signs a 2-year, $25 million contract extension with the Oilers. Joe, I think you were beating this drum early on and said he's going to sign a short one so he can get another big one. As Bill Neofus said, he did what Sid did. He could have got a lot more money. What are your thoughts, Joe? I'll start with you.
I did not see the actual number because I've been running around today and during this podcast. But he took a 2 for like 12.5 a year. Is that what he did?
Yep.
Oh, that's incredible. Now it's up to the GM to fulfill the team with guys. He should have done it. He should have signed that deal in June so they could have gone shopping for free agents. What was he waiting for? I don't know, Josh. I mean, why take it now so you can make a splash at the trade deadline? But good on him, and at least they'll have 2 more years of him, and good for Edmonton and good for Canada. And now we can all stop hearing about this. Thanks, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
This deal may have been done for a long time. Maybe they just chose to announce it the day before the season. That kind of stuff does happen when organizations want to put the PR spin on it. I give him credit. He could have obviously demanded a hell of a lot more money per year. The first person I thought of was Kirill Kaprizov. Actually, you're making $17 million a year now. You're making $4.5 million a year more than the greatest player in the world. You better back it up with a big time season and then some. No, I give him credit, and I don't want to give Sidney Crosby credit for everything, but didn't it kind of feel like this is the Sid effect? Like if Sidney Crosby never took less money forever, would McDavid be taking less money now? I don't know. But, that's the person McDavid grew up idolizing. And he's gotten to know him a little bit now, playing in the 4 nations. They're going to play in the Olympics together. And maybe he just decided, you know what? Sid's on to something. I'm still making an enormous amount of money. I'll be 30 when I'm a free agent again. I can cash out then if I want, go play in New York or Chicago, whatever. But he's trying to help his team win. Good for him. I think that's a selfless thing that he did.
He did an incredible thing. And what's funny now, if it was the NBA, they'd be the countdown clock on the next 2 years. Would be at the bottom of the screen. Like he only has 2 more years in Edmonton, and where's he going to end up? So it's great that he signed the deal. So he'll be perfect to
But it also heightens the pressure on them to win right now, though. Man.
Oh God. I mean, it's now or never.
Yeah, if they go out in the first round this year and don't win it all the year after that, I don't know, Connor. I've dealt with him a handful of times. That you have to think he's gone at that point, don't you? I mean, it has that feel.
They have a 1 in 3 shot. They got to win one of these next 3 years.
But it could be Corey, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe if he does win one, then he gets the hell out of Dodge. It's kind of like LeBron in Cleveland the second time. All right, Cleveland, I won you a championship. I'm going to LA now. That's where I
did my service. I did my duty. Yeah. I got to go. Yeah, that might be it.
I'm sure he does feel obligated to win a cup there. That's obviously that changes his legacy if he finally wins one there.
Well, a cup is a cup. I mean, the same way we hold no grudges to Gino or Sid if they leave.
Yeah.
They got us the cup.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, forever a legend, Nick Bonino, I mean, like everybody wanted him to sign. I'm like, well, no, Nick can go get his money. He did what he needed to do here. Thank you very much. And now he's back. So we love Bonino being back.
Talbot's the only one that broke my heart, Talbot.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that one burned. You don't go right to the creamsicle. You don't go to the brotherly love.
He still had half a beer at Mario's sitting on the bar when he signed.
Yeah. Yeah. It was so let's look at the Metro division first. We'll just kind of go around the horn and see who you guys have landing in each position. If you had to just guess at your best, and I'll kick it off. I'll say my division winner, because spoiler alert, I think it's not going to be the Penguins. I think the New Jersey Devils are going to win the division this year. If they remain healthy, obviously they've had some health issues over the years, but I'm in on the Devils. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Josh.
I would probably pick regular season Rod Brindamore to win the division because that's kind of what he does. On paper, they're even better this season. Like, they really are. I could see them winning the President's Trophy. nobody wants to play against them. It's so depressing to have to play against them. They win a lot of games just because you don't want to be in that building playing the way they play. They're good. I mean, we make fun of their postseason issues. That notwithstanding, I think they're probably my pick to win the division. Like I said, they could win the President's Trophy. It wouldn't shock me because the East isn't very good, and they're just built to win in October.
All right, I have my pick. All my picks. I have a Pro Hockey News column. I'm just a comedian who has a column. They're nice enough to give me swag and a couple dollars. I'm not Josh Showy, but all of these picks are published in Pro Hockey News. So it's not like I can go out and change them.
Yeah.
And they might be published.
They are on twofortalking.com as well.
All right. So I have, and this is almost a homer pick. I just believe in it. I have the New York Rangers winning the Metro.
You're big on the Rangers, huh?
Yeah. I see the Sully effect. I think Shesterkin's going to have a huge bounce back year. I like Quickie. Gavrikov is an excellent shutdown defenseman. It's now or never for Mr. Fox. They're Borjan and Susie, ever say his name, are perfect 2-3-4 defensemen. They actually play defense. Sullivan doesn't even remember what that's like. And up front, I just think he has his lieutenants. I think they're going to play Sully hockey. I think JT Miller and Trocheck, they're going. He has a sergeant at arms.
Yeah,
and I like that Lafreniere. I like Lafreniere.
Yeah,
and I like the bread man. And I have the Devils second. I love the Devils. I think I would pick the Devils actually in a best of 7 against them. I just think Igor is going to win a lot of games. They can score goals when they need to, and the Garden is the Garden. And Sully's gonna rule that place.
And I will say this for the Rangers: when's the last time Mike Sullivan had a goaltender?
Yeah,
now he's got 2, and that I'm interested in them. I think they'll make the playoffs. I'm not as big on them as you are. I think they still have a lot of depth in their lineup, but he hasn't had goaltending like this since 2017. So, what kind of a difference does that make? I suspect it will make one. They're one of the most interesting teams in the league as far as I'm concerned. I'm looking forward to seeing just how good they are.
Yeah. Now I have the Devils too, because the Devils, I think they have the best 1-2 center combination in the Atlantic with Nico Hischier and Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes was injured last year. Jack Hughes is a superstar. And their wingers, they have Palat. They have some really good wingers that just put the puck in the net for these guys. And in the back end, I'm not the biggest Dougie Hamilton guy, but he got hurt last year. But it's between him and Siegenthaler and Little Hughes, and then Markstrom. He's a really good goaltender. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're a good team.
Yeah, that's why
too. They were. Listen, they were so snake bit by injuries last season. I can't evaluate them because of that, really. But 2 years ago, I really loved that team.
Yeah.
They could come out of the East, Joe. It wouldn't shock me.
Absolutely. Like I said, I'm spacing on it. I'm going to go get my notes in 1 second. They have even more. They got the Jasper Bratt is very good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I picked them to win, because I think, Hughes being out was such a they were so snake bitten last year. And, I feel really bad for my brother-in-law, who's a New Jersey Devils fan and a New York Jets fan. So, I feel like he deserves it. It's a pretty rough combo these last couple of years. But I have the Hurricanes second in mind. Just same as, the same reasons as you guys. And maybe I was kind of a little biased. Like, I'm sick of seeing regular season Rod, win divisions and then do nothing else. So I'd like to see him slip. So we kind of all have similar top 3, because number 3 for me is the Rangers. What about you, Josh? Is that where you put?
I have the Rangers 4th.
Oh,
I think they might get in as a wild card, but I wouldn't overlook Washington. I know Ovechkin's probably not going to have the season he did last year, but he wasn't really what made that team go last season. They had a bunch of good young players, and I don't think what they did was fluky. Now, do I think they will match last season's regular season performance? No, I think they played over their heads a little bit, but that doesn't mean that they were bad. Like, I think they're still very much a team on the rise. I like a lot of the young players there, Joe.
Oh, I like two of them in Washington. I just want to go back because I want to give credit where credit is due for this young man. Timo Meyer is playing some hockey, and Timo's a devil. And they got Pesci from Carolina.
Right.
So the Devils are loaded. That was a good pick, Corey. Yeah, I just think regular season Rod. I just think the other two teams are just more talented. And the goaltending, Freddie Anderson. There's never a big game he can't choke. And to me, Chattenfield kills the Penguins. I don't know why, but now he's moved up. They're not the same D guys that they always had. They've been thinned a little bit on the D, and at some point, Stahl's going to age out of being the best third line center in hockey.
Yeah, eventually. I mean, God Christ, how old is he now? 37.
Yeah, but getting back to the Capitals though. I love Protas and I love McMichael. Those are the two big young kids. But Dylan Strome, he's going to do it. He's going to do it 3 years in a row. Maybe good on him then. But Puke never plays good 2 years in a row by that Pierre-Luc Dubois. I call him Puke.
Good point.
He never. So you're going to depend on him. Ovi, like I don't know. It seemed like once he caught the record, he kind of slowed down a little bit. And Terrible Tommy's not a Terrible Tommy anymore.
No, he's not as terrible. And I agree with you on the Ovi thing. I almost felt like if he didn't break the record during the regular season, that would have made them go further in the playoffs.
Huh.
Yeah, it's just like the wind was out of his sail.
I love Carlson, but he's getting older too. But Chychrun pretty much lived up to the hype, as far as a pretty good D guy. But then Lindgren and Logan Thompson played way above their heads.
They did. But I think they've done a really good job of rebuilding on the fly, kind of like the way Los Angeles did a few years ago. I give them credit. And I think no matter how we rank them, I really feel strongly that Carolina, New Jersey, Washington, and the Rangers are the four best teams in this division.
Yes.
I think there's a pretty clear divide. Joe, I don't know how you feel about Columbus. Like, I loved watching Columbus play last season. They're fun to watch. They have some forwards that are really impressive. They can score, but I feel like that was a team that did play over its head a little bit last year, and I wouldn't be shocked if we see a little bit of a regression.
Yeah, I think they're a little out of their depth.
No, I agree. But I actually picked them fourth, and I picked Washington fifth. Yeah, okay. I did. I like Merlikins. I like the Jet Greaves in net. I think Jet Greaves could be a breakout star. I just kind of feel more of like a Washington, just more of a little decline. And I just, I'm been historically not for Carolina. I mean, not for Columbus, but between the Johnny Hockey thing and the suntan Dean Evson behind the bench. I like those big Russian kids, and I like Fantilli. I just kind of like that team.
They're interesting. They're fun. Some teams you just don't want to watch when there's nothing else on. Like, oh, Carolina, like Columbus. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll watch them. Yeah. They're fun. Like,
and Fabro, how they stole him off of waivers. Remember last year?
Yeah.
When I had a list of everybody that went through waivers that was better than like all six guys on our blue line.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Fabro was right there.
Oh, yeah. How many times did that happen? Josh, does that mean you have Columbus at 5 for you?
Yeah, I do. Listen, they could push for a playoff spot and it wouldn't shock me. I really like their forwards. Other than Morensky, I still don't love their blue line. I think Elvis is going to have to stand on his head, but they're an intriguing team. I don't know. I want to see more from them. You could see them start to fade a little bit at the end of last season. They went on that run early. Man, they were the story of the league, and I wish they would have made the playoffs last season. It would have been an unbelievable story, and it was too bad that they didn't. I think they are moving in the right direction. Will they be good enough? I don't know, but we'll find out soon enough. And I always say this: Columbus, like, all they have is Ohio State. That city's just waiting to become a big time hockey town. It really is. Like, there's an enthusiasm for that organization, even though they've really never given the city much to be excited about. That they really could become a factor if they would just kind of string together a few good seasons in a row.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, they've gotten, if you've seen what Michigan, the state of Michigan as a whole has done to Ohio lately, it hasn't been good. So somebody's got to start fighting back. It might be the Blue Jackets over the Detroit, maybe. But and that goes, the Tigers beating the Guardians or whatever they're called. Number 6, I'm with you. I got Columbus number 5. Number 6, I have the Islanders. And nothing to write home about. I don't think they're anything special, but they find a way to muck it up enough to get into the 6th spot for me.
Joe, I don't know how you feel about the Islanders. Every single year, they always finish higher than what I picked them to come in. They always do 10 points better. When I look at them on paper, I think they stink. So with that in mind, I'm picking the Islanders to come in last place in the division. Nothing personal to my friends in Long Island. I don't know. One of these years, it's going to go in the opposite direction. They're really going to stink even worse than I think. And I look at that team on paper. I'm just not that impressed. I think they're going to be really bad this year.
Yeah, they're the one team that I think the Penguins can jump in the overall standings that I pick without really in still kind of stink. But I picked them 6 over the Pennsylvania teams because of Horvat. Barzal's talking a good game. It's funny. Horvat talked all that crap when he left Vancouver. He's never been the same player.
No.
They signed Barzal that big contract. He's never lived up to it. They signed. Oh man, you think the Penguins run an antique show? How about bringing back Paul Mary? I mean, he was supposed to be out of the league 5 years ago.
He'll still score against the Penguins every time they play.
Oh yeah. Pajot hasn't been Ottawa Pajot at all. I mean, they still got Pelech and Polak, but they're aging out. Why they traded Noah Dobson, I have no idea. And now they don't have Varlamov to back up Sorokin. And Sorokin at one point was better than the Russian in Manhattan, but not anymore.
Oh yeah. No, Sorokin's talented. I mean, he's the guy who, if he can put together a complete season, despite what the team in front of him may look like, he can steal games. He might be one of the 5 most gifted goaltenders in the sport. But I'm probably not giving them enough credit. It's just what I do. I pick them to come in last every year. It's like, oh, the Islanders are a point out of a wild card spot. I wonder how, because I never understood how they do it, but they just do.
They're always right there.
The reporter in you is going for the story of Waugh just ripping somebody's head off in the stands after a 3-2 loss.
I love Patty Waugh. And of course, but belated happy birthday to Patty Waugh, who was, of course, born on the same day as number 66 in the same province, which is one of the coolest things ever.
Yeah.
Maybe the greatest player and greatest goalie ever born on the same day in the same province, yes.
There's something going on in January in Montreal every year that causes great children to be conceived. Yes. So we let's go with number 7 here. We're kind of all jumbled, but for me, the 7th is the Pittsburgh Penguins. And honestly, I just couldn't rank them below the Flyers because I feel like the Flyers will be worse than them somehow. And I'm very excited. It's a weird thing. I don't know if this makes sense when I say it, but it's weird. I'm very, very excited about this team. Very genuinely excited about them. But I also don't think they're going to make the playoffs. It's an oxymoron, but I don't know.
No, and I have the Penguins 7th as well. I have the Flyers 6th, but that Flyers, Penguins, Islanders, I don't know. None of them are any good. I have such respect for Rick Tocchet and hold him in such high regard that I wouldn't be surprised if they made some progress. But at the same time, I'm not sure that Danny Briere and Keith Jones know what they're doing. I really wonder about that in the big picture. They're good guys. I just don't know if they know how to build a hockey team. I don't see a lot of talent on that Philadelphia team. I think Rick only has so much to work with. And as for the Penguins, Joe, I think they're going to be fun. I think we're going to enjoy this season more than the last few seasons. I truly believe that. There's still going to be a lot of rough nights when they just give up too many goals.
Yeah, I just think that for 2 reasons why I picked Penguins 7th, Philly 8th. One, I think it would literally be over Sidney Crosby's dead body that the Flyers finish ahead of the Penguins in the division. They just, last year it looked like it was going to happen, and it just didn't because the Penguins sparked up at the end. And secondly, I just think Philadelphia does not have enough NHL talent. Yeah. I was always a Zegras guy, and he's coming over. Okay. But Couturier, your number 1 center? What? Can Zegras even play center? He's usually a wing. I'll give him Michkov, and I'll give him Konechny. Other than that, I don't like any of their forwards except Nick Delorier, which I wanted the Penguins to get 4 years ago. I love Delorier.
That would be your kind of guy. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Hey, he kills penalties. He's probably the 2nd or 3rd toughest guy in the league. and he had a hat trick in a game. But Sully probably wouldn't have played him anyway. But I hate Garnett Hathaway, and I hate the fact that Nicky D has to protect him. I hated Hathaway when he's a Calgary Flame. I hated Hathaway when he was a Capital. I hated Hathaway when he was a Bruin. He's a dirtbag. And not to be critical, but their goaltending stinks.
Yeah.
And their defense is like, I don't know. Sanheim, I think he's a little overrated.
He's all right. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, Garnett Hathaway. I made some waves in Washington a few years ago, and I tweeted that guy was born to be a Flyer. He shouldn't be playing in Washington. They all got mad at me. I was right on. I've never been more right about anything in my life. That guy's a born Flyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably why I love Imama so much is he took him out.
Yes, he did.
So that'll do it for the Metro. But let's just run through, since we're on a little bit of a time crunch. We want to talk some Steelers, college football. Who do you have, Joe, as the Atlantic winner? I have the Florida Panthers, even though they have so many injuries.
I made my column before the devastating injury, not just to Florida, but to all of hockey in the world on Barkov. But I have Florida number one because conceivably, London and Bennett can be, if they were the 1 and 2, they'd be the best 1 and 2s on almost the whole league. So they didn't almost even miss Barkov. Florida's just loaded. I have Florida 1, Tampa Bay 2, and Toronto 3.
Yeah, I think Florida is. I think the world of them. I don't think they're going to win the division just because I think Barkov being out all year and Kachuk being out, it's just going to make it tougher in the regular season for them. That yes, they're still very good. I also don't think they give a shit about winning the division. I mean, that they just need to get in. I think Tampa will probably win the division. They're actually better on paper, even though they're another year older. But I'll probably go Tampa 1, Florida 2, Toronto 3. That sounds about right to me.
Josh, you mean better on paper from last year, or you mean better on paper?
Yes, Tampa's.
Okay, because I don't think they're better on paper than Florida. I think
that's not what I meant. No.
Okay, that's why I just wanted to clarify.
Tampa's not better now than Tampa was last year on paper, but I still think their window has closed. Even though they'll make the playoffs, they'll score a lot of goals. I sure wouldn't pick them in a series against Florida anytime soon. I'll tell you that.
No, and I mean the big guys for Florida will be back, so hopefully. The Central.
I just want to get through. I just want to get through like a little bit more in the Atlantic, because I think there's a middle class where I think Montreal is the best of that middle class, Josh. Yeah. Then Ottawa, then Detroit, because I think there is a world where Detroit can step up and make the playoffs. I think there is no world where Boston or Buffalo is going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, that sounds right. They stink. Nothing's changed with Buffalo. Boston's kind of a year behind the Penguins on the whole rebuild, going to struggle. I like Montreal a lot.
I do too. I picked them ahead of Ottawa.
They're a playoff team, in my opinion. They could be kind of a dangerous playoff team, I think. I think they're very much on the rise. They could break into that top 3 even in that division. It would not shock me. I think they are to be reckoned with. I'd be aware of that team.
Yeah.
Especially with Toronto's goaltending issues.
Yeah, and we can make fun of Marner all we want, and that's fun, but they never replaced him. Like, they're still going to miss all that production in the regular season. I don't think they're as good of a team on paper.
Now, if you pay attention to the Twitter fans, Toronto fans on Twitter, they very much are aware of the fact that they have not replaced the goals that they lost.
It's an issue.
Yeah. So out of the Central, I have Colorado. These are not really, these are very safe bets. Colorado winning the division to me. Like, I don't know. It's really hard to look at that division and see somebody else winning.
I think it's a toss-up between Colorado and Dallas. I think both top 6s are, damn near all-star teams. And I like the top end of each. I mean, you have Taves and you have Makar, who's our Bobby Orr. And in Dallas, you have, Miro and Harley, who jumped out. I just think, even though he wears out a little bit in the playoffs, he's got a midget for a backup. I just take Ottinger over Blackwood and Wedgwood. That's why I think Dallas is a better team, but I'm picking Colorado to win the division.
That's interesting. I'll pick Dallas to win the division, but it's clearly between those two.
Oh, wait a second. I did pick Dallas to win the division. That's why I messed up. I'm on the spot. Yeah, I picked Dallas. I picked Dallas because of the
goaltending
Ottinger versus yes.
Yeah, and with Winnipeg will probably still be a playoff team, but to me, Dallas and Colorado are the two best teams there. We're going to see those two in the second round, and it's going to be an unbelievable series. That's and it could go either way. I love when those two teams play. Colorado, for whatever reason, has not been able to handle Dallas. It's kind of the thing in the West right now. Edmonton can't beat Colorado, and Colorado can't beat Dallas, and Dallas can't beat Edmonton. They keep playing this game, but I don't think there's any question they're the three best teams in the West right now.
The Mikko Rantanen Bowl.
Yeah. We need that. And to be honest with you, I got so focused on Winnipeg versus Colorado that I didn't give Dallas enough thought because to me, like Winnipeg is just so far below. I'm like, I don't see them competing at all.
Winnipeg is the Carolina of the West.
Yeah, like they might have a good regular season, but then they'll unless they get lucky with a last second goal to survive against an 8 seed. But
it has to wear on you too that if you're going to play 82 games, but you have the most unreliable goaltender come the spring.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting to be a problem, isn't it?
It's going to be. It better not be a problem for Sullivan. He better pick somebody else.
February, it better not be. I know.
Just to go through though, I have Logan Cooley and the Utah Mammoth. I almost call them the Jazz every time in the 4th seed, barely squeaking out over the Bluesers because I think there's a good chance the Central gets 5 in. I love the Bluesers. I think Minnesota is overrated. I love Kirill. Kirill could have won the MVP last year at Christmas. He's great, but they don't have enough around him. And then after that, I have Nashville, who they forgot how to play. They got all these superstars. They forgot how to play Nashville hockey. And then if you think you're depressed being a Penguin fan, look at the Chicago Blackhawks. It's been 7-8 years since they've been in the playoffs. They're no better than they were 7-8 years ago.
They're really bad. I know. Chicago, Nashville are, not good. Clearly the pits of that division. I like Minnesota more than you do. I don't love them, but I could see them making the playoffs. I love that Utah team. I'm telling you that blue line is wonderful. Logan Cooley, we're a little biased because he's from here. That kid is a stud. I mean, he is really on the verge of becoming a real all-star caliber player, in my opinion. I really, really like that team. They are on the rise.
Yeah, the Kaprizov stuff. I mean, they just went too far. Like it's kind of like we talked about it last year so much about how they've never had a guy, and to me, it's like the guy that never got attention from a pretty girl, and like the moment she gave him attention, like here's flowers, here's this, we'll give whatever you want, I'll give you everything. Christ, he's making $5 million more than Connor McDavid.
No, but I just Utah though. The Gauthier, Cooley, JJ Peterka, Clayton Keller's underrated, Schmaltz, right? But their bottom 6: Krause, McBain, O'Brien, Stenlund, Cup winner, and our old buddy Mr. Tanev. There's some thumpers to lay the wood after you get scored upon, and then Sergachev, our old boy Marino. Don't call him Dante Marino. Our old buddy Cole. Dursey is Drew Doughty light. They just didn't accept it. And then they got our old buddy Mata and Nate Schmidt. Vij Melk is a good goaltender. If they weren't in the Central, I'd pick them higher.
No, that's clearly a playoff team on paper.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Should be. Out in the Pacific, I have the Vegas Golden Knights. It's not that it couldn't be Edmonton. It could be you had to pick one, so that's who I went with. This is the Vegas Golden Knights, but they have a long history of winning that division out there. Long history. I mean, short but long for their franchise.
Joe, this division feels like much of the same to me. I feel like Vegas and Edmonton are the best two teams. I feel like LA is very good. I don't know if they can beat either of those teams in a playoff series. I don't know that anything has changed in the last 6 months. What do you? And I know you really love keeping track of those Western teams and the Pacific teams in particular. What do you think?
Well, I am picking the Vegas Golden Knights to win the division. As much as I am not a Mitchell Marner fan come the springtime, he is 100 more points. And Jack Eichel is living up to all the number 2 hype out there in the desert. I like the Vegas Golden. They're a professional organization, and Aiden Hill has a little something to prove this year in that he is a cup-winning goaltender. I like the Golden Knights. I'm not going to shock the world. I'm picking the Mistress in the 2-hole. I think another big year, more for Quentin Byfield. They're going to have Kuzmenko all year. I know people are down on CC and Dumoulin. They're going to add a little more stability in the back end. I'm not as high on Edmonton. I think Edmonton last year just got by on those 2 guys, and I think they're just trying to get by on them again. And I'm just not sold on the team that's played that much hockey. Who knows the regular season? I think now they're waiting for the trade deadline to see what's going to happen. And they're going to tread water, and they have enough talent to just, to hang around and make the playoffs. They always start out horribly and make it anyway. So I have them third.
I mean, that's interesting. On paper, listen, Edmonton's goaltending, I actually feel like the last 2 postseasons, they've played above their heads in that position because there's not that much talent there, and it still wasn't enough to win. Yeah. And I just don't know if that goaltending duo is the answer moving forward for them. It's the same old story. They might have the 2 best players in the game, and that's something, and that will carry you so far. But as we have learned, it's not far enough. Is that roster really any better now than it was? No, it's not. And then the 2 big guys, as great as they are, they're another year older. The great players of all time, like I think is Leon 30 now? He's 29 or 30. McDavid's 28. You're not going to get better at that age. You might be able to sustain it for a few years. That's great. They're not going to get better than they are, and no one else around them is any better on paper. They're a contender, of course, but unless they make a couple of changes and additions on that team, I'm not feeling them making it to the final again.
Oh, and on the back end, Ekholm is a year older. And he was way dinged up last year. And everyone loves Bouchard. Playoff Bouchard. Regular season Bouchard is a bigger Chris Letang as far as a mistake machine. And Nurse is pretty good. He's not 9.5 million good. No. But they're really the 2 years ago when they lost they lost Fogo and Holloway. That meant something. Like that's what filled in the blanks around the big guys. In the 4-hole though, I got the Duckies. I love what the Duckies.
So do I. Yeah. Yes, I love that team. They're coming. Yeah.
Coach Q, he knew which team to jump back to.
That's a smart move.
There is real talent there, Joe, especially their forwards. I mean,
oh yeah, Uncle Leo is the man.
Yeah, now he can really play.
What's the rest of your Pacific there, Joe?
Well, I got Duckies. Then I got Vancouver, which I thought my other podcast, I thought Andy Picard had the best line ever. He goes, "What, you have a troubled locker room and then you bring in Evander Kane?" It's like, what? And Tocchet's not there to fight him. I don't know what they're going to do in Vancouver, but I think they have enough talent to beat Calgary. Calgary just plays hard, and Wolf is a great goaltender. They don't score enough goals. Nazem Kadri is not a number 1 center. No. And their defenseman, I like Uyghur's really good, but the other guy, Rasmussen, he's always out the door. He's always 1 foot out the door. So I got them there. And then below that, I got the San Jose Sharks climb out of the basement because Salabrini is the real deal. And I predict right here, Salabrini makes the Canadian Olympic team. He got his running mate. He has a great mate in Will Smith, not the rapper, a great winger. And then Misa is going to be a great number 2. And they brought in a bunch of real defensemen to play defense. They got brought in Orlov and stuff like that. And they got the Russian kid Ankara in net. It's put up or shut up. Or go back to Russia.
Yeah.
And Seattle, poor Ronnie Francis. Enjoy your night the 25th in Pittsburgh. Yes. It'll be the highlight. No, terrible.
That's going to be the high point of the season for him. Yes. Well, that'll do it. Hey, we have a hard out today. So, the Steelers didn't play, but we have to point out the fact that they have a 2.5 game lead over the Ravens.
Oh boy.
And boy, are the Ravens historically bad on defense. Like they've never had a 4-game run this bad. 40 points averaging a game. It's wonderful to see. So, but anyways, and also Penn State, that was fun.
We need a whole new show to talk about what happened to them.
Jeez, oh man, go from number 2 in the country to out of the rankings in 8 days. And I will have to tell you guys about my Michigan experience because I was on the field. It involved a pulled quad. It was fantastic. It was wonderful. And also, while I was in Ann Arbor, and Will Horkoff scored 5 goals this weekend.
Yes.
So, he looked pretty good. But we'll talk about all that stuff later. And we appreciate you guys. As always, follow us on Twitter, follow us on YouTube. Please subscribe, and we will talk to you later.